What is going on, you guys? Petplatypus here, and we're going to be talking about retroactive continuity, or better known as retconning. As is the case with filler, I feel that retconning has a negativity attached to it that's really not fair. In the case of filler, there is some justification, as there is really shitty filler. It's sort of a half and half situation. However, with retconning, it is not a bad thing at all, potentially speaking. And that's what I'm going to get into. So, last thing I need to say is this video will contain spoilers for some series like Steven Universe, the Uncharted games, and Dragon Ball Super. Maybe a couple others, but they're all very, very light spoilers, so don't even worry about that too much. But I feel that I'd be a dick to not give you guys a warning. So with that all being said, let's get started. Okay, so you guys are watching a speed drawing of Garnet from Steven Universe in my own art style. Normally I would just put a subtitle on the screen of what I'm drawing so I could dive right into the topic at hand, but I'm letting you guys know because this is the last pre-recorded speed drawing I have. So before I start making more, I thought I'd have a little bit of fun and ask you guys for requests. Asking for requests, that's kind of weird. But anyways, if you guys have any anime characters, cartoon characters, or what have you that you'd like to see interpreted in my art style through a speed drawing in a discussion video, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll get to them in the future. So, retconning or retroactive continuity. First off, let's give the Wikipedia definition. Retroactive continuity, or retcon for short, is a literary device in which new information is added to already established facts in the continuity of a fictional work. Now, I'm not going to go too in-depth with this video because it can kind of be tricky to really establish what is and isn't a retcon and what's left up to interpretation before all the facts are given and different things like that, plot twists and all of that. It's a little bit of a gray area there. But I've come up with 3 or 4 examples that I think fit the retcon definition fairly well. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. I'm definitely no writing expert, but I am going to give my thoughts on this because I do feel that retconning is looked at negatively for, I won't say no reason. Actually, I'm going to get to the negatives. Not the negatives of retconning, but why I think it has a negative stigma attached to it. In fact, I should probably just transition into that right now, honestly. The reasons why I think retconning has a negative stigma attached to it. First one is pretty shallow, pretty superficial, but at face value, the term retconning does sound pretty negative. That's not to say it is a negative. Again, that's at face value, that's at a very basic level, that's super shallow. But if you didn't know what retconning was, and you're watching a reviewer and they say, oh, they retconned this, the term retcon does kind of sound negative, so I can see why that idea would be put in your head. There's also the fact that retconning does change information around, which some fans from a subjective standpoint, in their own personal opinions, not really from a writing standpoint, they could have a problem with that because it changes their perception of a certain aspect to a series. And the third one is that I feel like some people think that retconning goes hand in hand with being inconsistent or a plot hole or a plot inconsistency. People kind of associate the two. Not everybody, but that's just from my experience. But the simple fact is, retconning is just, like the fucking definition said, it's a literary device. It's just what you make of it. Could it cause a plot hole when you start changing around facts that were previously established? Yeah, you could potentially cause a plot hole. Or, like with the examples I'm going to give, they could be benefits for the series or just neutral for the series. That's the whole thing about retconning or filler. It's what you do with them. Just because you hear the term retcon or you hear the term filler, that doesn't mean they're automatically bad. There are people who try to avoid calling Dragon Ball Super episodes that are filler. There are people who try to avoid calling them filler because they, I guess, feel that there's a negativity there. And that's not the case. Again, this video is about retconning, but it's sort of the same situation. That's why I'm bringing it up. But let's move on to the examples, starting off with 2 very beneficial retcons. That's, again, if you can call them retcons. How much is left up to interpretation? I'll get into that. In the One Piece series, it is established very early on in the series that the Grand Line is the primo ocean. That's where the One Piece is. You travel around the Grand Line, You get to the end, you find the One Piece, boom, done, you're the Pirate King. Or Queen, I guess. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, it's then later established in the series, because the established fact is that there's the Grand Line Ocean that wraps around the world. The retcon, what you could potentially call a retcon, is when Kobe shows up and he tells Luffy, our main character, that it's actually two oceans separated by the red line. And we knew it was separated by the red line, but we thought, oh, it's all just the Grand Line. That's what we were told. There's a second half to the Grand Line called the New World. And again, is it a retcon? You know, is it just new information? It kind of fits the retcon bill, but I'm going to call it a retcon for now. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But let's say it is, just for example. If this is a retcon, okay, I'm not going to say it is one. I'm going to say if it's a retcon. There we go. Cover my own ass there. If it's a retcon, it opens up so many possibilities for the series. It adds to the world building. It adds to all the potential in the world, really, to expand the story, and it just really, really works. And when they get to the new world, lo and behold, there is tons of new world building, new rules of the ocean are established. It all adds to the series. Another example of retconning that is very, very positive, the video game Uncharted 4. Yes, we're throwing video games into the mix. We find out in Uncharted 4 that Nathan Drake has a brother. This was never established in any of the previous games, and that's potentially the established fact, that Nathan Drake was an only child. Again, it gets a little sticky. It's kind of left up to interpretation, because they never outright said he's an only child, so is that an established fact? Is him having a brother a retcon? I feel that it is, because there was never a mention of this character ever in Uncharted 1, 2, or 3, especially in 3 where we had childhood flashbacks of Nathan Drake. I know the childhood flashbacks in Uncharted 4 predate the ones in Uncharted 3, but still, it's a retcon. I see it as a retcon. If I'm wrong, again, you know, but if this is a retcon, again, cover my own ass, use that if, save my own ass with that if, so I'm not wrong, or I'm potentially wrong. If it's a retcon, what it did for the Uncharted series was introduce a new character, give us fantastic character interaction between him and Drake, give us a great brothers story, really great character development, and was all around a huge benefit to the Uncharted 4 story. Uncharted 4 story, in my opinion, would not be nearly as interesting if we didn't have that brother dynamic. But not all potential retcons are, you know, beneficial. Sometimes they can just be neutral. For example, in Steven Universe, and this is definitely a retcon, we find out that Steven's last name is not actually Universe. We had the established fact that Steven Universe's name was, well, Steven Universe, no shit. But then when one of his family members shows up and says, your last name should be DeMeo, not Universe, we find out that no, his last name is not Universe, it was legally changed to Universe. It's a retcon, but as you could tell by the explanation I just gave, it's not a big deal at all. They use it for a cute joke, and that's about it. So really, not a big deal at all. Again, retconning, not the big bad wolf that you might think it is. Not that everyone does. In fact, I think that even though it does have an unfair negative stigma attached to it, I don't think it's as negatively looked at as filler. Because filler, like I said, there's a bit of a half and half there. But it's a neutral retcon, the Steven Universe thing. And then the last one I want to mention is, you saw the thumbnail, you knew it was coming, Dragon Ball Super, the Potara earring fucking controversy, if you want to call it that. In the Dragon Ball manga, it was established by the Elder Kai that the Potara earring fusion is permanent. Again, it's a little sticky because they unfused without an explanation, or without a real explanation, I should say. The Boo has a nasty stomach bullshit is not a proper explanation, but they unfuse. So again, was it an established fact? You know, there's already an inconsistency there. Again, talking about retcons is tricky, especially because you don't want to get retconning confused with plot twists and shit like that. So that's another reason why I'm really not going in depth. But this is a retcon. This definitely is a retcon. It was said it was permanent. They unfused for some reason. Goku asks in Dragon Ball Super, you know, fast forward to Dragon Ball Super, Goku asks, why did we unfuse back then? And Gowasu says, if you're not a Kai, if you're not of the Kai race, it's not permanent. If there is at least one Kai involved, it's permanent, but if neither of you are Kais, you only have the fusion for 1 hour. And this lit a fire under Dragon Ball fans' asses. Everyone's saying this is super inconsistent. Toriyama doesn't know what he's doing. Toei doesn't know what they're doing. It was said to be permanent. It was permanent in the Boo Saga. God damn it. No, it wasn't. As I said, they did fucking unfuse. And we don't know why, and now it's explained why they unfused. You could almost argue that this is an explanation of an inconsistency, no longer making it an inconsistency rather than a retcon. But I still think it fits the retcon bill. If you don't like that the fusion is no longer permanent, that's totally your opinion, and that's fine. But from a writing standpoint, there's nothing wrong with what Dragon Ball Super did. It doesn't break continuity, it doesn't create plot holes, it's simply explained through retconning, an inconsistency that was present in the original Dragon Ball in the Boo Saga. And the moral of the story is, retconning can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. I wish I had some bad examples, I really do, but I couldn't think of any. But yeah, there's good examples of retconning, there's bad examples out there, there's neutral ones. It's just a literary device that can be used however the writer sees fit, and if it has a negative repercussion or a positive repercussion, we just have to wait and see. But it is not a negative. Just like filler, it can be used positively or negatively, as I said. So let's not get too repetitive, not ramble too much. Let's just wrap up the video. Last thing I want to say is the final in this trilogy of talking about writing, like this video series, if you will, I guess. I don't know. I will be talking about plot devices and defending plot devices. So with all that being said, what do you guys think of the video? Do you guys think the retcons that I mentioned in this video are actually retcons? Go ahead and let me know in the comments section below. You can also follow me on Instagram or add me on PSN. I'm petplatypus on both. Also follow me on Twitter at DAJFilms. Give this video a thumbs up and share it on social media. Both of those would help me out very, very much. Subscribe if you haven't already, or if you like what you've seen here, and if you are subscribed, click the little bell to get notifications of when I upload a video, because YouTube sucks at their job. With that being said, thanks for watching the video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.